everyone, welcome back to RTS and welcome back to our 4 for 4 series, and today we're absolutely going to be working on our layout 4 using 4 photos. If you choose to, you can absolutely do 1 photo, 2 photos, 3 photos, 8 photos. Yes, there is no rules in scrapbooking. No. Okay, so let's get cracking because here is layout 1, layout 2, layout 3, having fun with this series. I just absolutely love this series, and tomorrow or the next day when we work on cards, I'll be talking about what will be coming up in future 4 for 4 series. Yes, fun. Okay, now at this point you may only have 1 cardstock left, or in my case I have 2. It doesn't matter if you have 4. I always say pick what you want to use on that page. It's not about using up supplies, it's about recording the story. Yes? Okay, so for filming I use this white, and that's what I'm going to play with today. But I think I'm going to use this cardstock for my pictures, and I'll talk about that in just a minute. Okay. So what we're going to do is we are absolutely going to, I have some glitter. Isn't that something with the holidays? Glitter. Yes. Sometimes you find it clear into February. I love that. Yes. It's like the season doesn't leave you. I love that. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I have my list here absolutely with my papers because it's been a week or so. I can't remember. Okay. And I have my instructions here. So for this layout 4, we're going to be playing with 4 pieces of paper. Okay, and that was just not intentional. It's just the way it landed. And so in my pattern number 1, which was my red plaid, I'm going to have a 1/2 by 12. And then for my number 2 pattern and my number 3 pattern, which is the same size as 4 by 5.5. See, the exact same size. Not a 6 by 6. 4 by 5.5, and then my pattern number 4, which was my gold stems, is a 4 by 12. So we have 4 pieces of paper for layout 4, using 4 photos if you wish. Okay, now also too with that, remember you can bring forth, this is all I have as leftovers from layout 1, 2, and 3. Isn't that awesome? That's all I have. So that is laying there. And then also too, if you had 6 by 6 papers, if you had scraps, and also if you had papers that you earmarked for matting, that's still an option. And our lovely bonus sheet. Now you will notice here I am in layout 4 and I still have not used this, but that doesn't mean I may not. So hang on for that. Yes, I have something up my sleeve and up my skirt. Yeah, yes, absolutely. So don't be afraid to pull in some things. If these 4 pieces of paper is not what you want and you want a little bit more, don't be afraid to do that. Okay, now I have my photos here and I'll talk about that. So with these 4 pieces of paper, we are simply going to rinse and repeat the same thing we did in round 1 and our round 2, which was our fall round, is that you simply are going to play with these. Okay, and then I'll talk about what we're doing in this round. But you absolutely can take these in the middle and just start playing and put this 1/2 by 12 on the top or the bottom. Okay, just like that, either one. Okay, now this seems a little heavier, so I think I like it on the bottom for a change. That seems a little heavier. And then you have these 2 pieces of paper. Now if you have anything that's a direction, you can absolutely pay attention to that, but you simply could overlap that, do 4 wallets here, and do a title here and journaling down here. That's how quick this page really can be if you want to make it quick. Some of us like quick pages sometimes, and sometimes we want to be creative. So let's be creative. So what else could you do with these? You absolutely can slide this up, okay, and then play with these. Okay, this makes for a beautiful 2-page. This would be your left right here. Bring this down about a 1/2 inch. There's your 1/2 by 12. There's your 4 by 12. Cattywampus these, okay, and then this is your left, and then this cattywampus again would be your right. Okay, very fast page, very pretty. Okay, and so then you could when you're taking this to the top, you could put this down here, you could put these up here, you could put them down here, and you simply could take them to the left, take them to the right, however you want to, okay? And then, of course, with bringing that down to the bottom, okay, one quick little turn, and now you have a whole new page design. Again, you just play with these however you want, okay? And then you could go side by side, okay? You could take them to the right. You can absolutely even overlap them, which we'll be talking about that in just a minute. And then if you had a huge title, that would be perfect, okay? So then, of course, you know, we go vertical, and you're going to do the same thing where you have that band in the middle, and then you could take these. Let me show you an option with this. You could take these and you can make these into a band as well. Okay, now you would have a little bit of short here, but that doesn't matter because you could absolutely overlap. Okay, and that is a band. Even though that doesn't go the whole way to the top or to the bottom, that's still a band design. And then you could just take this over to the left, and then you absolutely, there's your right. Okay, just no wrong way to do that. Now with this series here, this round of 4x4, something we've been talking about is overlapping, swapping, and spacing. And so for overlapping, you simply could put this top in the bottom or the top, whichever you like, and you could take this 1/2 by 12 and overlap it on your 4x12. And then if you want to do a little bit more overlapping, you know what you could do? You simply could take some foam tape and put foam tape on the entire back side of this 1/2 by 12. And then not only are you giving yourself a header, you're giving yourself a dimensional header. I love doing that. And this is just a piece of paper, okay? So overlap, and then of course, like I had showed, you could overlap these as well, okay? And then also too with that, with our border stickers, okay, now I have these border stickers in a bundle, and I will have a video link below because I know we have some new scrapbookers here, and we have some new people to the channel. So I will link this. This is how I organize my border stickers, okay? And then you could take these, and then you could overlap as well, okay? So you take some border stickers, and then you could take this 1/2 by 12 and just keep overlapping. Look how pretty that is. Yes? You know, I never get tired of that. And then just keep overlapping. So you could overlap your border stickers, and then you could overlap some ribbon, okay? And I'm just putting these here as examples. And then also too, don't forget your washi tape, okay? And then also too, don't forget the Vanessa trick was absolutely taking your washi, putting it on cardstock, okay? And actually you're just making a border sticker. So don't forget not just overlapping your papers. Don't forget that you can overlap your washi, your ribbon, and your border stickers. You can overlap it all, yes. And you can use more than one, okay? And then also too with spacing, you could absolutely take this 4x12 and cut it in half and have a little bit of space in there, and then you could take some more border stickers and fill in that space. So just pretend this is 2 inches here, and then I cut that 2 inches here, and then you can keep filling in these spaces. Or you can absolutely cut these in 4-inch strips, and then in between those spaces, put some border stickers. Yes, absolutely. Okay, well, I like that right there. Isn't that nice? So all I simply did was take 2 border stickers and put that over that 4x12. Where's my 1/2 by 12? Here it is. I don't want to get lost. And then look at that. Oh, very pretty. Very pretty. Okay, and then also too is swapping. Don't be afraid to, if you don't like this 1/2 by 12, swap it out for some border stickers or some washi, okay? Because not everything will be your cup of tea on every layout, and that's okay. And like I had said earlier, this isn't about rocking the supplies. It isn't. I mean, we all get caught up in supplies and design and components of this hobby, but really at the end of the day, it's about recording the story. It doesn't matter if you use every one of these pieces or you absolutely only use one of them. It doesn't matter. It's just that to make for a faster page, you don't have to sit and go through your entire space for your supplies. You just use what you have. Okay. And then also too, with overlapping, don't be afraid to take some border stickers. Overlap it. Oh, look at this gold. This gold glitter washi. If I can find the end. This is brand new. I've never used it. Oh, beautiful. And it seems very sticky. Don't be afraid to overlap a border sticker with washi. And what do we got for ribbon? What ribbon do I have? Oh, I have some of this brown, or I have some of this ivory lace. This is pretty. Okay, so don't be afraid to overlap all 3 of those. Okay, and that just makes for more creative choices, and then also 2 more creative designs when you're overlapping, swapping, and spacing. Okay, so don't be afraid to do that. And then also 2 is spacing. Let me move this for a minute. Something else you can do is that you can absolutely cut these too. So let's go into vertical, and I'll put this here, and here's my 1/2 by 12. I don't want to lose that. Okay. Okay, and you can absolutely, oh, let's overlap this. Okay. And then you could cut these in half because these are 4 by 5.5. So say if you cut this in 2 inches, and you could put 2 here and put 2 here, cut this in 2 inches, and then just keep on going. Put 2 inches here, 2 inches here. So instead of this being a block, you can make it into a vertical piece of strip of paper if you want to. I did that. What page was that? I think that was in Yes, layout 2, where I had a block, a piece of paper, and I absolutely cut it. I made it into a vertical sense of things. If you want to do that, don't be afraid. It doesn't always have to stay in this block form. Have fun with it. Okay. And then I think, what am I going to do? Okay. Well, I have more than 4 photos. So first of all, I'm going to have to decide which 4 I have. And my layout this time, now what did I do? Okay. Here is a horizontal. Here's a horizontal. And this was a vertical. Oh, so I probably should think about a vertical, but you know, maybe that's what I'll do. Okay. And so then I have more than 4 photos. And so sometimes when I'm working on a project, and this is what happens to me, because I had did the kit and then I was printing photos later. These were from last year. And so when I'm sitting there thinking, okay, what do I need? I don't sit there and just absolutely select 4 photos because it takes too much time. I can't make a decision. So when I can't make a decision when it comes to printing photos, not that I'll print them all, but I'll print more than I need, and then I can make my decision later. When I absolutely go to play with these, I can make a decision better when they're in hand than when they're on my computer screen, if that makes sense. So again, I just printed these in 4x4. I gave myself some margins of a 3, 3, 3, and I think this was 63 or 65. I talked about that in the previous video. Okay, and so then I think what I'm going to do is a vertical design. I really want to get in this buffalo check. I just really like this, okay, because this is about decorating. And I think, see, I have that plaid. See, I have that right there. Actually, I thought I had a washi with that. I thought I did. Let me see if I can find that. Yeah, here it is. I just had it. So I definitely could play with that and see if I could get that on there. Yeah, why not? And see, this is what I'm saying. I could swap this plaid out for this if I choose to, because this would absolutely go with my photos. Don't be afraid to swap that out or use it all and combine it. No one is going to pay attention to any of that. They're just going to look at your photos. So I say have fun and use what you want to. Okay, so I think that is what I'll do. I will come back and I will absolutely play with these and pick 4 photos. Now, I absolutely could put on 6 on one page, and I definitely could get it on there. Okay. So let me show you that option, okay? I'm just doing 6 photos, okay? You definitely could get 6 photos, and this could be a left, and then on the right you could do another 6. So right there's 12 photos on a 2-page. Don't forget that option too. Just because I'm doing 4 doesn't mean you have to. But I think just for this class, I think I will do the 2, or use the 4, because I want to stay within the class series. And then also too, with my month in review, for this year, I'm sure I'll have these floating around, so it's not that big of a deal if I only use 4, if that makes sense. Okay, now what else I wanted to show was, don't forget you have your bonus sheet, don't forget you have the matting, don't forget you have your scraps, and then one thing I did want to say, what did I do with it? Just do not reach into your leftover pattern papers that we pre-cut, because these are for cards and that'll be coming up in a day or 2. So do not reach into that. Everything else is fair game. Absolutely. Okay, so hang on, and I will be coming back with some Christmas decorating. We'll see how this lands. Oh, I see, I like that. I might do a grid with a vertical design. Maybe. Maybe I also have something up my sleeve. Maybe I'll get into an L design. Okay, hold on. I will be right back. Okay, I am back with my finished page, and I loved playing with the bling. Yes, I did. Now, where are my 4 pieces of paper? Because I did some things with them, I got creative with them. And so you can see in this page design, even though I used just those 4 pieces of pre-cut papers, it doesn't look like that. Because right here, and let me give a little bit of a pointer. Where would that be? I'll find something to point with. Okay. So if you see here, right here is my 1/2 by 12, okay? And then right here is my 4 by 5.5 and 4 by 5.5, because I cut them down and used them as photo mats. And then my 4 by 12, I absolutely cut it in half and made an L design with my papers to go along with my grid design of my photos. So I absolutely had fun just being creative and using a grid design in my photos, and then using my papers to make an L design. And we'll be talking about L designs coming up. It would be in not the next go-to designs video, but the next one we will be talking about L designs. And so that's all I simply did. And so with this L design, I just took this gold stem, which is my paper number 4, cut it in two, in two, so that would be a 2x12 and a 2x12. Just absolutely made an L design. And I used that 1/2 by 12 that I already had in my pre-cut papers because I had plaid in my photos, and then I wanted to add my buffalo plaid check. And so I took my washi, which was this, and I put it on the back of a piece of cardstock that I didn't care for, and then this is what you get. Okay, so you're basically making your own border sticker or a border strip out of your washi, and I think it's much easier to adhere and to play with when it's on this cardstock backing. And so that is what I put there. So I have plaid, and then I have the buffalo plaid because I have both in my photos, so I just wanted to play. And then of course I took some gold washi, and what did I do with that? Lovely, lovely gold washi, but there's something you have to remember when you get to playing with glitter and things like this, because this has a coarse treatment to it and a coarse finish to it. So I put the washi tape over here, that was on the cardstock, on top of this, and then this paper, this 1/2 by 12 over this washi right here, this glitter. And one thing you have to remember is that ATG or just a regular adhesive will not adhere to the top of this. Even using my tacky glue, I sometimes still have to go back and fix, and give it a second coating of adhesive. So not only do I have ATG on the back of this, I also have this to keep it in place. And same with this right here, because this is just so coarse and the adhesive doesn't really soak into it. It just kind of lays on top of it. So you have to absolutely use sometimes adhesive twice, or 2 different types of adhesive, something to get that stuck. So you have to be aware of that. But I think it looks pretty because not only did I take that gold paper, make an L design, I absolutely took this gold glitter washi and I made an L design out of that too. And then I made an L design with this plaid and then with that plaid. So I have 3 components making that L design. And then of course my photos just make a grid, and I simply used that 4 by 5.5 of my pine cones for a mat, and then the green trees for a mat. And so this has a mat, this has a mat, and these don't. And it doesn't really look that way because of my cardstock, which was Cardabella. I'll flip it over. That is what it looks like. Okay, and so then of course down here with my title I use those thickers, and it says details because decorating details, and I manipulated it into a little bit of an arch. Not hard to do. Once you take these off, I have things sliding everywhere. Once you take these off, you can absolutely, they will bend and you can manipulate them, and that's how I did it. I just put it there in a little bit of an arch, a little bit of a detail for my title, and then I took these little holly leaves that I had pre-cut on layout 1, and I just now used them. Put some gingham, red gingham, little sticky, self-sticky brads, put them there to make like a little holly leaf decoration. Added a couple label stickers, added some enamel dots there to get in this green of this balance of this green here. And then I just did some layering and some clusters, and then you'll see that I have some pine cone paper here and I have green paper here, and I did that to balance this green here and then the brown and the pine cone to balance that. And so all I did was I had these pieces of papers left over, and I took a circle punch, and I don't need a whole circle for clusters and layering. As long as I get a half of a circle, you can do, let me do a green one. You can get a nice little embellishment even out of a small strip of paper. And so I don't need a whole circle, just as long as I can tell it's a circle. And I'll put that, of course I have this adhered really well. Oh, I have it really adhered. I can't even get that underneath there. But you can see, let me see if I can tuck it somewhere. I'll just put it right there. Say if I'm tucking it right there, and I'm tucking it right there. See, I don't need a whole circle. It looks like a whole circle. So you can use that with the smallest of scraps. And then, of course, to get in a little bit of more trimmings, some more decorating, I put a pine tree up here. I put a snowflake up here, only because what was represented in my photos. Absolutely. And then, of course, if I flip this over, I covered up my brads with washi tape. And sometimes with washi tape on the back that you have flipped, sometimes you have to secure that with extra washi too when you put in a page protector. And so I just used these gold stars. I put one here as the dot in my details, and one in this cluster, one in this cluster, you know, just to get the visual triangle, and a couple little word labels, stickers there. Okay, so I think that is basically all I have for this layout. Very, very fun to just play, and it was so fun to just take a few pieces of paper and rethink the design rather than just putting them on in their original pre-cut size. I absolutely use those as mats. I cut the 1/2 by 12 it's same, but that 4 by 12, I absolutely cut it in half and made an L design with my photo grid. Absolutely love that. Now, if you notice, I don't have any journaling on this page because, you know, sometimes when you do things over and over and over, you just don't really have anything to say. And this is just about getting a small snapshot of the decorating that I did in 2017. That's why I have a 17 here, because I don't always decorate my home the same every holiday season. It seems like I'm always adding things or taking things away, and nothing is ever the same. So it's just a little snapshot of some decorations for the holidays. So I think that was all I wanted to say for this this layout 4 in our 4x4 series. So don't be afraid, even though we pre-cut the papers and we predetermined which ones were going to go in the layout. That doesn't mean you have to keep it in their original form. Cut them up and add to them, overlap them, and absolutely cut them up, have fun with them, and then break out some punches, things like that. So that is what I have for this layout for our 4x4 series. So that means in a couple days we have one more thing left, and that is our 4 cards with our extra pieces left over. Okay, now when you have these extra pieces left over, please keep them separate from your scraps or your 6x6 papers or anything else, because we're going to you know, absolutely use these pre-cut papers, and we're going to divvy them up. And now I do have some few pieces here, and I wanted to show something. I might have to pause here for a minute, but this is what I have leftovers, and I will absolutely, I may cut these, keep these 3 pieces here, but the rest of this will go in the trash. But I will pause here for a minute, and I'm going to show you, because someone asked me how did I do these holly leaves, because they were I just hand cut them, but I'll show you an easy way to do them. Okay, so hold on for a minute, and I will come right back and show those holly leaves. Okay, hold on. Okay, I wanted to show how I cut those holly leaves for my layout, because I actually had cut those in layout 1 and I just now used them on layout 4. And I absolutely had used one of those 2 by 5.5 piece of papers that was pre-cut for layout 1. And then what I did was, okay, now I will say using a striped piece of paper will not be good for holly leaves. It doesn't turn out right. And so I just took this 2 by 5.5 and divided it in 4 quadrants. So I took my pencil, marked it in half, and then just eyeballed it, and again marked it in half. Okay, and so there's my 4 quadrants. I don't even think you can see that first line. Let me make it a little bit darker. Okay, and of course, you know, use pencil, okay, in case you make a mistake. And there is my half and half. So I have 4 quadrants. Okay, and so basically then what you do is that you're just taking this and you're making like a parenthesis mark or a half of a moon, and that's all you're doing, staying within. Right here's my quadrant 1, right? And I'm just staying within that. Okay, and then you're going to do the flip side of that, and you can make them as big or as small as you want. Okay, and if you have to practice on a piece of scrap paper, by all means do that, because see, it gets a little wonky. But when you cut it, this is just to give you a guideline. Okay, let me flip it up here. And so again, I'm just making like a half a moon, staying within that quadrant. Okay, and I'm making them. This might be a little bit better, but I just practiced, and you know, you're using pencil, so you can just keep going over that. Okay, now let me cut this one out. Okay, and if you take your paper and you cut it in quadrants, it helps you with your design, because you're just going to trace inside the lines. Okay, so I'm just coming and I'm just cutting it with those half a moon marks in mind. Okay, so we'll see how this turns out. Okay, but that's all it is. It's just hand tracing. Someone asked if I would show that, and I said yes, I would. Okay, and it would probably help if my scissors weren't so gummy. Okay, okay, so there's a holly leaf. Okay, and so you can keep one part as a point and keep one as a square at the top, and you'll know which one you intended to be the top. Okay, so I will absolutely cut this one into a point, and then you just cut. Okay, so it might not look the best on its own, but just keep practicing. Okay, let me try another one here. And so I'm not even fussy cutting. I'm just cutting my paper near what I had in those lines. And that's all a holly leaf is, really, is just half moons randomly cut in the paper. That's all it is. Okay, and let me give this one a point here. Okay, so again, there's some holly leaves right there. It's really, honestly, it looks harder than it is, but definitely do it on a piece of paper that it's like a tone on tone. Don't use this stripe. It just looks a little wonky for holly leaves. So let me show you another one. Okay, so I just basically traced in some half circles using some scissors, and I'm going right to the edge, and I'm just cutting those half moons, and just like that. Okay, and then again, make sure you give your top a square and your ending a point. Okay, see, there's my trace marks, and that's what it turned out to be. Okay, that's just holly leaves. That's the DIY hack version to do holly leaves. You don't need a die, you don't need a punch. Okay, now let me give this one a better point. And like I said, if you want to, just practice with some scrap paper. Okay, let me give this more of a point, because I like my holly leaves to have a point on one side. See how these all have points, and at the top they don't need a point. Okay, put them together. Okay, and let's just find a pretty little brad. Oh, I have some brads here. Let's give it a, I don't know if I have a red bow here. Okay, there we go. There's your holly leaves. Just put them all together. A 3 makes a nice little grouping of holly leaves. Okay, put them together in a group. Put a brad. You can see what I did, as I absolutely took 3 gingham and holly leaves go together, and then I just made a little decoration right there. So you don't need a die, you don't need a punch. All you need is a piece of paper, a roller, and a scrap. That's all you need. Okay, so that is all I have for layout 4 with 4 photos in this 4for4 series. So that means in a couple days we come back, we're gonna make our 4 cards. Okay, so hang in there and get playing with those 4 pieces of paper. Okay, come back to RTS, because you never know what we're going to learn. Bye.